Stephen, how are you?
How's it, guys? How's it going?
All good, all good. A massive reaction to you setting the scene last week before the first test, and tensions started to get a little bit high over the course of the last week. Tensions that perhaps you stoked seeped into the Springbok camp, and all of a sudden, your beloved director of rugby is here in Vimeo giving us a 1 hour breakdown of what went wrong last week. What the hell has Rassie Erasmus done here?
It's a mark of pure genius, if you ask me. I think he's like, regardless of whether or not you think it's the right thing and whether or not you think his calling out the referees is right or not, it is the perfect distraction. It is exactly what this Lions tour needed, if you ask me.
Why do the South Africans need a distraction? Are they not world champions? Should they not have the confidence to say we don't need any sideshows like this?
Well, see, the thing is, they're not the same team that won the World Cup in 2019. And I made the mistake last week of thinking that they were based off of that SAA performance. This is a team with a head coach who's never head coached before, coming into his second, now his third test match ever. It was supposed to have another one before that, and then the second Georgia test got cancelled. So he's not necessarily the best in terms of managing the media in these amazingly crucial, huge high pressure scenarios. Then you've got Sia Khaleesi, who was coming into the series on a little bit of poor form, gained a little bit more form when he moved to the Sharks, but still wasn't in his top form. You've got the likes of Jasper Wiese, who's starting his first ever test match, and he didn't need that extra pressure on him coming into this incredibly crucial, like the series is on the line type of thing. So to take all of the media pressure, I mean, all those things are coming into this final, or this what feels like a final test match for the Boks. It's not really; it's only the second, but it kind of is, because it's a do or die match. And yet the only thing we're talking about is some guy some random guy on Twitter who may or may not be Rassie Erasmus, and then Rassie Erasmus going literally out of control and doing it. The thing is, Rassie's never out of control, though. I don't think.
Yeah,
He's never given the impression that he does anything that he doesn't want to do.
exactly. And that's why this has been all so very strange, because if this was anybody that wasn't Rassie, you might have said, well, this is just crazy. And I don't think we've ever used that adjective to describe Rassie Erasmus. He's been he's certainly been ruthless behind closed doors. He's been cold, I'd imagine, plenty of times, but this unhinged nature we haven't seen before, and I think the madness, there's a method to it, is what you're trying to say this morning. But I'm hearing a lot of excuses there, Stephen, in terms of why things haven't gone so well. So a rookie head coach, a captain maybe who's undercooked. I mean, he's coming up against a test captain whose shoulder was out of place there only a couple of weeks ago. Is there not any sort of is there not any pride there within you who's like, no, these guys just underperformed last week, they can do a hell of a lot better, this coach should be getting a better tune out of this set of players than the one we got last Saturday?
Oh, no, I think you misunderstood. Those weren't excuses. Those were reasons why the Boks would be under pressure. The Boks bottled it in that second half in last week. And to be honest, I didn't think they were particularly impressive in the first half either. They just were better than the Lions. And the Lions improved drastically in the second half. But again, as I think Alan Quillen mentioned as well, it was not a great test match. It was tense, sure, but it wasn't the best. It wasn't what we were looking for. It wasn't what we were hoping for. And the Boks know that they need to improve. They know that wasn't their best. And yeah, the distractions from Rassie, who's not in really, I don't really know the structure of their management setup at the moment, but Jacques Nienaber is the head coach, so he will be doing most of the one-on-one sessions. So Rassie can take the distractions away and lure all the media away and let the Boks just carry on and do their thing. And that's, I think, what they need. They don't need people interrogating them on every single thing this week. They just need to buckle down and improve.
He might be doing all that sort of at the expense of his own. I mean, I don't want to overstate it, but not quite his own career. But I mean, this is going to be, if Springboks lose this weekend, Stephen, this is going to look really bad on Erasmus.
I think it's going to look bad on Erasmus no matter what happens. It's as Alan Quinlan mentioned earlier, it is unprecedented. It is not something that you would do lightly, but at the same time, it also stirs the pot. And a lot of people have been saying that we've needed something like this with referees for a while. I'm not saying that every referee decision is wrong. Of course not. And most matches, there's always going to be that little bit of 50-50 calls going one way or the other. But there has been a trend where big decisions have been made and nobody's been held accountable to them. And so I don't necessarily agree with what Rassie's done personally. I think it's a mark of genius. I think it's absolutely brilliant theatre, but the way he's publicly calling out might not be the best thing for the game. But just to get those questions and stirring those pots about how we look at getting referees to be held to account, I think that was needed. So Rassie might have sacrificed himself. Rassie effectively made himself a martyr in this series.
Yeah, I just think you do all of that away from the heat of battle, like just doing it in the middle of. Maybe maybe it's an absolutely calculated market genius. But look, we'll move on to talk about the game. But I do think that I think that if the Springboks end up losing this weekend, I think that I don't know where he go. Where does he go from then? Like if somebody comes in from the side and doesn't get penalised from the line side, if Tom Curry comes in again and hits somebody in the leg when they should be hitting them higher up. Where does he go from here? Like, it's the red button for me. I just think that if the Springboks lose this weekend, and I actually think there's every chance that they won't, but if they do, there's a chance that this leaves a very dark stain on his career.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It's going to be. I mean, the next week will be more interesting than this week, and this week has been. I can't even really remember that it was that was only 6 days ago that we had a test match. Like, how long has this week been?
Well, we haven't been able to talk about the rugby, Stephen. That's the difficulty. We've been, he's been tweeting again this morning. He's at it non-stop, keeping us in entertainment. And like we're bread and circus, we're like Egypts. We're falling for it. We're like the seals. Sort of give us a little bit more fish there. We're keep it coming. We are sort of lapping it up, obviously.
There's nothing else really to do. I mean, again, it's the mark of brilliance because Rassie doesn't want the media talking about how poor the Boks were. He wants to talk about, the referees, or he wants to talk about me, or he wants to talk about Warren Gatland putting pressure on Marius Jonker. He's trying to avoid how bad the Boks were.
Are we going to get like a more entertaining fare from South Africa? Are you going to at least entertain us this week in any shape or form, Stephen?
Hopeful. The inclusion of Visa is interesting to me. It sort of goes in. We're looking to play a little bit more like we played in the World Cup final as opposed to the World Cup semi-final. That another thing is what gets me is a lot in the Irish sort of analysis of South African rugby is, they do one thing and one thing really well. And yet, if you really look at the performance between the semi-final and the final, they weren't exactly the same. And it looked like they were trying to do more of the running rugby in the second half in the first test, but they just ran out of steam. They just had no fitness. I think they're going to try that again this week. If they win if they dominate physically in the first half, then in the second half they're going to open up wide a bit more. But I don't think they can fix fitness in a week. So they're going to try it. Maybe try spread out a bit wider earlier. But I don't know. It's going to be. I'm expecting a little bit more like what we saw on Saturday.
Right. Well, Stephen, enjoy it, and thanks a million for being with us this morning.
Cheers, lads.